Good morning. It is Sunday, the 26th of October, 2025. I am Graham Hughes, and you are watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. Hope you're all right this morning. Hope you enjoyed your extra hour in bed, if you had one. If you're a farmer, and I don't think you get the extra hour if you're a farmer, you've just got to stay. You just got to get up. You just got to get up immediately. But Shropshire Chris says, "Good morning, lovely people. We've got Lost Missionary in the chat. We've got." Miss Paula Thomas and Diz. Got Pete in the chat as well, and Russ and Saz and Sid and John as well. Hello, hi everyone. If you'd like to join our friends in the chat, all you need to do, hit the subscribe button, wait for approximately 60 seconds, and you will be allowed to join in with the fun in the chats, the fun chat, the fun. So first of all, we're going to be talking about something that's not particularly fun today. Sarah Pochin. Chin of poo. I hate it when you get poo on your chin. Anyway, so this woman called Sarah Pochin, she is the RefUK MP for Runcorn, right? By about, I don't know, I think she won it by about 6 votes or something. In the by-election that took place earlier this year. She went on Talk TV to complain that TV ads are full of black and Asian people, which apparently drove her mad. It drove her mad to see fewer white families on the screen. This is not a slip of the tongue. This is race baiting. This frames basic racial representation as something threatening or abnormal. The message is clear. Britain should look white on the television. That is not a mainstream view. It's an extremist framing made palpable for TV. And what was she on? Talk TV, which I don't even think is on TV anymore. I think it's just on the internet. Maybe she thought no one would see it. Perhaps she thought the internet has the memory of goldfish, and anything you do, 5 seconds ago will be forgotten in 5 seconds time. But let's hope that doesn't actually freaking happen this time. This is deliberate. This was absolutely deliberate on behalf of RefUK and the RefUK fuckers who run RefUK, privately educated, like Sarah Pochin. You honestly think that I'm a bit obsessed with everyone in the public eye being privately educated, but when they all are, then I'm sorry, but they all are. Only 8% of people working in TV and film come from working class backgrounds. 8%. It should be 8%. That come from these posh backgrounds of going to private school, being Nepo babies, being the posh kids, like this Sarah Pochin Harridan. I mean, she's fucking minging. I'm sorry, I'm not that PC when it comes down to it, I'm not as woke as I want to be. If I see someone and they look like Zelda from the Terrorhawks, I'm going to be like, ugh, they look like Zelda from the Terrorhawks. And if they're ugly on the inside and ugly on the outside, like this woman and, Haiti Hopkins and Anne Widdecombe. No, just fuck off. Just sorry. I'm going to say they're fucking minging because they're minging. They just ming. They just ming mercilessly. They are ming mercilessly. They ming mercilessly. Anyway, so this is deliberate. It wasn't a gaffe. She said this calmly, intentionally, and without pressure. It wasn't a heated moment. She didn't stumble. She didn't stutter. She wasn't misquoted. RefUK MPs are routinely testing these talking points, gradually normalising white grievance politics, because it's all they've got. It's a slow push of the Overton window towards Nazism. Last year, it's been, over the last year, it's been small boats, and they talk about globalists, by which they mean Jewish people, and they talk about this great replacement theory that they have, that foreigners are coming here to replace us, and that's why we need to send people back where they came from, even if they've been living here for 7 years, they're married with children, and they have a family life here, they have a good job. It's not good enough for these people in RefUK. They want to end indefinite leave to remain. They want everyone to be, apart from the rich, privately educated, upper-class cunts like what these people are. Sorry, demonetize the channel. Demonetize the world. I don't care. These people are just fucking vermin. And the people who vote for them need to know that these people are vermin. They need to know that when they vote for RefUK, They're voting for racism. They're voting for Moscow. They're voting for Nazism. That's what they're voting for. They want a totalitarian, fascist state here in the UK. Well, at least an authoritarian one. Obviously, totalitarian, authoritarianism. Two different things. Two very different things. America is already authoritarian. It's already there. You know, we're on our way. We are definitely on our way. And if we don't start picking apart these motherfuckers, calling for them to resign, you know, I mean, it's maddening, isn't it, that an MP on the left will make an innocent mistake 20 years ago to do with filling out a form for something, and it's like, oh my God, they have to resign. They have to resign. This is disgraceful. They did this thing, and they put the wrong thing in their form. Yeah, possibly because they didn't have someone to do it for them. Maybe Daddy's accountant and Daddy's lawyer was not available. Maybe they had to do it themselves, and maybe humans make mistakes. But this isn't years ago. This isn't something where, you know, it was a complex thing that just fucked up for someone. This is yesterday on Talk TV. This woman coming out with racist shit. The absolute, you know, this is the epitome of this modern class of classless upper class gobshites and how they get away with their racism. And you can say, oh, it's a dog whistle. This isn't even a dog whistle. This is just racism. She said it makes her mad when she sees black and brown people on TV. It makes her angry. Where are all the white people, she said. You know, and this comes hot on the heels of that Tory scumbag, Robert Jenrick, who last March said that he walked down a street in Birmingham and he didn't see a single white face. Again, I don't even think it's dog whistle. I just think it's racism. It's just absolute fucking racism towards a huge segment of society who are just getting on with their fucking lives. Just getting on with their lives. Sarah Hitler. Yeah. But like I say, it's not a gaffe, you know? And the apology, right? I mean, she followed with a classic non-apology. She said she phrased it poorly. Right, okay. No, says Adolf. I didn't say to invade Poland. It was just poorly phrased. That was all. You know, sorry for any offence. Sorry if you're offended. And then immediately repeated the same claim that advertisers have gone DEI mad. No, they know what they're doing. You know, it's not like all these advertisers sitting around going, "How can we be as woke as possible?" No, it's how can we make as much money as possible. And the thing is, white cracker racist gobshites like this privately educated Putin harridan, they are not people who spend money. That's why they're rich. They're tight as a fucking badger's arse. They could swallow a lump of coal and shit out a diamond. That's how fucking tight they are. And so there's no point in advertising to these bastards. There's no point at all. They're not going to buy your stuff. Who you can try and sell stuff to, you can target certain demographics. And that's what advertisers do. Because that's where the money is. Who's spending the money? Well, it's black people, it's brown people, it's gay people, it's trans people, whoever it is who's spending the money on that product, who's most likely to be, you know, interested in buying those products. They're not going after posh white people, because posh white people have just either, they don't spend any money here, they certainly don't pay any fucking tax here, and they always threaten to fucking leave. Well, fucking leave then. Give a shit. Give a shit if you go. I'm sick of seeing that plastic woman, you know, the one who keeps appearing on LBC. You know, the one who lives in a castle and she's worth 500 million. She only lived here for 2 years. And she's like, I'm going to leave. Yeah, go and take your plastic arse with you, you fucking plastic knobhead. I'm going to leave because they're going to make me pay tax. Okay, fine, go. Honestly, fine. We don't need you here. The properties will remain. The infrastructure will remain. Any assets, physical assets will remain in the UK. But here's the new rule that I want bringing in, along with a fucking decent wealth tax. You can't take it with you. You leave this country, You say you're leaving, you don't want to pay tax anymore. I'm leaving because they're making me pay too much back towards, looking after people and the roads that I drive down and the sewers I flush me shit down. I'm having to pay too much towards them. Oh, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to leave the country. Fine, leave. But you can't take it with you. You have any assets? You have a castle? You got a castle, have you? Okay, cool. Well, we're going to buy that for £2.50. And we're going to make that legal. And we're going to make it so there's nothing you can do about it. You've left. You went. You left the country. Too late. Can't have it back. It's now the people's castle. Or maybe we could get it for £2.50, right? Stay with me on this one. Sell it for a few million. And then spend that money on treating kids with cancer. How about that? Yeah? How about 350 million a week for the NHS? Paid for by rich twats who are like, I'm going to leave the country. I'm going to leave the country. There's too many brown people here. I'm going to a country like Dubai because that's not a country. I'm going to another country because like the United Arab Emirates because there's no brown people there. There's no one from the Indian subcontinent in Dubai. Anyway, so yeah. It makes me angry to see fuckers constantly on the TV, of course. It's mad. They see these people on TV and they go unchallenged, says L. Sorry, David said that first comment and L said the second one. I personally think it's a bit of an own goal for reform, bro. I think some liberal reform voters may not vote for them now, although they will still keep a small section of the hardcore racists, says was Imperviz Khan. I don't know, mate. Like, seriously, I think that if you're going to vote for RefUK, you're either an idiot or a racist or a millionaire. And that's their demographic. So I think even if their MPs are outed as massive fucking racists, which they are, let's not forget when people go, oh, tell me one thing. Well, I fucking hate this. When they go, tell me one thing that this person said that is racist. They always do this, right? And you go, okay, well, you talk about Nigel Farage, right? One thing he did is racist, right? Okay, here you go. You know that Breaking Point poster? Do you remember that Breaking Point poster? The one he unveiled on the day that one of his killed Joe Cox, the MP, the young mother of two, while screaming Britain first, right? Do you remember that poster? Yeah? They cropped the white people off the original picture. The original picture had white refugees on it. They cropped them out. Why would you do that? Why would you do that if you weren't, I don't know, massively fucking racist? I don't know. Just one of those things, If you had a group of people who had done something wrong and there was 10 of them and 5 of them were white and then you cut the 5 white people off the picture and went, look at these people who've done something wrong. I'm not saying that asylum seekers have necessarily done something wrong. I'm just saying, like, imagine you did that and everyone would be like, why did you cut the white people out? Why did you cut the white people out of the picture, Nigel? Why did you do that, Nige? It's because you're a massive fucking racist. And it's really funny the way all these people around Nigel Farage seem to just, people find out that they're racists and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know. These people are racist. Oof, racism. And it's like, but Nigel, no, he's beyond reproach, isn't he? He can put out that a fucking wanted sex pest, like who's wanted for sex trafficking offences, like Andrew Tate. He put out that the person who attacked and murdered the young girls in Southport last year, he put out that he was a asylum seeker. And Nigel Farage retweeted that. He said, oh yeah, I've got sources. Who is your source? Andrew fucking Tate. Anyway, Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I think we should copy the US on tax. When you're a UK citizen, UK taxes. Yeah. When you make money anywhere in the world. I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I was a bit shocked when I found out that wasn't the case. I was shocked because it just seems crazy to me that that's not the case. So, just saying. Is Pochin the English spelling of Putin? Yeah, Sid. Pretty much. They can't take the fancy restaurants or the opera house with them, all the nice things they like about, especially London. Yeah, but Kirsty, they get to hang out in a massive, soulless shopping centre. Yeah, shopping centre in a air conditioned with with a ski slope in it for some reason in Dubai, in the middle of the desert, ski slope in the desert. That's what they get to do. I mean, they're not going to be able to go to a West End show, really, in Dubai. I don't think too many bands play in Dubai. I don't think they're going to catch Oasis in Dubai anytime. I mean, I don't know what happens in the future, but as things stand, I just can't see it. And you know what they say about shopping centres, don't you? You've seen one, you've seen them all. Oh, what the fuck? What? Anyway, so yeah, why adverts? Why is he kicking off? Why is she kicking off about adverts? You know, I mean, this is like, you know, professional race baiting, isn't it? You say the hateful part, get the outrage clicks, backpedal just enough to stay in your job as an MP, and then restate the underlying message clearly for your base. But like, you know, why adverts? But this is what I said about normalising earlier, right? So adverts are emotionally loaded, right? They show normal life. Far-right messaging wants you to think of normal as white, heterosexual, cis, Christian. You know? So they pick on soft targets like Christmas, flags, British culture, anything to suggest that minorities are taking over. It's all part of this grand conspiracy theory. This bullshit that, you know, the great replacement. We're going to be replaced by these people from all over the world. Do you know what? I'm going to be replaced by people because I'm not going to live forever. And one day there'll be someone here in my stead. Maybe not. Maybe in this house. Probably will be. Will they replace me? Probably. Do I care? No. I'll be fucking dead. Couldn't give a shit. You know, what do you think that someone's going to come into your house and do your job? Do you think that's what they're going to eat your food? Everyone's gonna go down the pub with your mates. Is that what you're gonna be replaced? It's gonna be like some kind of like Black Mirror episode where there's a doppelganger, the Great Replacement. That would be a good episode actually. And there's someone to want to know. I'm going, they've taken my life. They've taken my life, and it's a robot that has the memories of that person, but everyone thinks that person's dead, but they're not dead. Yeah, that would be a good episode, wouldn't it? Yeah. Dear Charlie Brooker. Okay, I'll sort that out another time. So anyway, yes. But you know, this whole thing, the Great Replacement theory, it is a lie, but it provokes emotional reaction, which is how they build their political identity. You know, this is about power, not adverts. This is if Reform convince everyone they're under cultural attack, they can get away with anything: scapegoating immigrants, cutting rights for people who don't look the same as, you know, this bloody Harridan. I'm glad that most people don't look the same as Sarah Pochin because you know, she's minging. Sorry, I know I shouldn't say that, but it's what everyone's thinking, isn't it? Just look at it and go, oh, fucking hell, what's wrong with your face? You know, seriously. But I think if she wasn't so ugly on the inside, she wouldn't be so ugly on the outside. That's my theory on it anyway. Me and Roald Dahl. Anyway, so yeah. If they can convince people, you know, they're under cultural attack, they can get them to vote. They can get them to vote against their own better interests. We've seen this time and time again. We saw this in America under Trump, yeah, who totally fixed that election. Jesus Christ. Drilling down into some of the stats in that election is just fucking, you know, the election they had last year. You know, there's certain places where no one voted for Kamala. No one. Not one person. In like a Democrat state, in a Democrat ward, nobody voted for her. Not a single vote. There were votes for down ballot for the candidate who was on the candidates that were on the Democrat side in the Senate and the House of Representatives and stuff, but no one. And then there's places like Miami-Dade County in Florida. Now, I know Florida's a red state, but Miami-Dade has been bluer than blue since 1992. Bluer than blue since 1992. And yet, the stats there were just bonkers. There was a lot of wards within the Miami-Dade County constituency where over 100% of eligible voters voted. A lot of them. There's a lot of dodgy shit going on there, but you know, there were a lot of people who voted for Trump to win. they voted for Trump for the third time. I don't think there was enough of them for him to actually win. I do think that he genuinely cheated, but because he had all the billionaires on board, and they run all the the voting polling stations and provide the voting machines, and there's many ways to rig an election, especially one that is. It's not like you have to get millions and millions and millions of votes that you otherwise wouldn't get. You don't need that many, really. Across the state, across America, you only need to get 1% to go your way rather than the other way. And you'll clinch it. Just in the right places. Just in the right places. And don't forget, these very, very, very wealthy men, these billionaires, these multi-billionaires, these, what do they call them now? Demi-trillionaires. It's a half trillionaires. These demi-trillionaires, they can employ people to go... They can employ armies of people to fuck shit up for everybody. And that's what I said at the time when people said, why do you think Trump's going to win, Graham? I said, because all the billionaires want him to win. Yeah. Anyway, so, culture war, this isn't a sideshow. I know we talk about, we shouldn't be talking about culture wars. We couldn't be talking about... shouldn't be giving oxygen to this bullshit. But here's the thing, it's culture war isn't a slight sideshow to the main event of politics. It's a delivery system for authoritarian politics, and that's what they want to bring in. They want to bring in authoritarian, not totalitarian. And what they'll do is they purposefully kind of create this bullshit about, well, it's not like 1984, is it? No, because that's a totalitarian state. I don't think that'll be set up here ever. I don't think that's what's in America at the moment. What we will have under Farage is an authoritarian state, which is different from totalitarianism. It's not going to be Nazism. It's not going to be Stalinism. It's not going to be fascism as it was under Mussolini or Salazar or Franco. It's going to be authoritarianism. It's going to be an authoritarian government where, you're not necessarily watched every moment of every fucking day for what you do, but if you step out of line, they will come down on you and kill you, and they'll kill your family, and they'll kill everyone you know for knowing you and stuff. So it's not quite where they dictate who you get to marry and what job you have to take. It's not as total as totalitarianism, but fuck me, it's getting there. It's getting there. Look at America right now. Yeah, did you notice something about the big protest that they had the other week? No Kings protests. Did you see many black people there? Have a think why you might not have seen too many black people in those marches. Because black people know that if they go out, they will be targeted by the authoritarian state that is America right now. So they're leaving it to other people to say what they want to say themselves, but they can't. I mean, how awful is that? It's 2025, and you have an entire cohort of people who don't feel like they can go and join a march against what the government's doing because of the ramifications that may result of that, with Trump's private militia, his Gestapo, his ICE, as he calls them, going out and just bashing people's heads in without any, recourse to any judicial proceedings at all. Going into people's homes without a warrant. Not telling people who their name is. Wearing masks like it's the TV show of Watchmen. So yeah, this is just really grim at the moment, and I think what Sarah Pochin has done, and this is why I'm making a big thing of it. This isn't covered on the BBC website. There's nothing about it. I couldn't find anything today. Couldn't find an article about it. This is one of 5 RefUK MPs, right? One of 5. So that's 20% of the entire parliamentary contingent of RefUK. And she went on a show and she said that she is sick of, she hates, so the word she used was hate. I hate seeing black and brown people in adverts. That's what she said. I hate seeing black and brown people in adverts. And it's not really being covered by the news at all. We'll see. We'll go over to the papers in a minute and you'll see. I'm not full of shit. They really just aren't saying much. I am going to put in a goal, by the way, just because it's Sunday and I don't, I want to try and make doing a Sunday show a bit more normalized. I'm going to change it. It's not going to be Morning Brew next week. I get a bit of time beforehand to fix it up. So it's going to be called the Sunday Sermon. It's going to be a lot of the Sunday service, but it's going to be not necessarily about what's in the news, but just something that I want to go off on one about. And I like going off on one about things. But yeah, I've just put a thing for super chats, and it's just any color. We've got half an hour, and I'll tell you what, if we get the super chats in the next half an hour, I will I'll do a little bit of an extension to the show. Okay, otherwise I'm going to wrap it up at 12. So there you go. What comes out of person's mouth affects the way you see them 100%. Says Lost Mystery. Yeah, I agree. Can we stick to her behaviours and actions? Body shaming is not cool, says the Matux. Yeah, I know. I feel bad for feeling this way. And I know that I shouldn't say she's a fucking minger, right? And that might be the reason why she's evil, but she's evil. And I don't understand why we have to be so... Well, I do understand, but no, I just don't want to be all fucking holy. And I don't want to be, the good guy. I don't want to. I can't be arsed all the time. Sometimes I just want to say, fucking shut up. But yeah, I genuinely think that, like, with her and Haiti Hopkins and Anne Widdecombe and some others, J.K. Rowling is a really good example. I think, I didn't think that J.K. Rowling was unattractive 10 years ago, and that's not being ageist. I'm getting older myself. I'm wearing very focals now, but it's just the hate inside her has made her so ugly to me. Like, I look at her and just go, oh, I'm like repelled by the bile that she extrudes. I don't know. I think this is very common with people who go down the route of hate, turn to the dark side of the force, end up looking like a shriveled little walnut, like the Emperor in Star Wars. Oh, you look like a shriveled little fucking walnut, mate. How dare you? Take your Jedi weapon. Nah, mate, I've fucking got me fucking walnut crackers here, mate. I'll fucking have you with these. Put these in your head. Wheels Darren. £2 super chat. Are you doing shows anymore with Mikey Family? Yeah, I hope so. Thanks so much for the super chats. Yeah. It's just been a bit of a scheduling nightmare, especially when I was away, because I was away in Canada, and then I was away in Panama, and then I finally got back here. I'm still not entirely back on the old show rotors, show times, and things like that. But yeah, we'll try and sort something out in the future. Wheels Darren, thank you very much for the super chat. What can he say, Chris, other than admit it and the papers slam him even worse? Is that for me saying that she's minging? Paula says he is a shit who will be out of the job in 4 years. His majority was only 600 to a left stroke Gaza candidate. Who are we talking about? I haven't heard Starmer talk about it, says Chrissy. I know this is an easy goal for Labour. I know that West Streeton has spoken out about it, but like, who was it saying he can fuck off? Everyone. But he can fuck off. Fucking waxy faced bastard. But yeah, this is something that Labour should be absolutely jumping on and saying, look, this is the type of person that do you want these people running the show? Do you want them running the show? But yeah, so the biggest danger in all this, right, just to get back to this Sarah Pochin and what she said here, is once people accept the idea that representation is unfair, you open the door to excluding people from society, from housing, from healthcare, jobs, because you've already trained people to see minorities as the other. This is all part of the othering. I'm seeing these people on TV. It makes me angry. I hate seeing these people on TV. This is what she said, which is funny because she's privately educated, and I fucking hate seeing privately educated people on TV. Google private school mafia and just see how many privately educated people you see on TV every fucking day. It's hundreds of them. There's over 1,250 names on that list. In fact, I haven't updated it because I've got my offline list, right, which I update now and again, and then I upload it onto the website, and I'm over 1,300 names now. 1,300 household names, privately educated, like Sarah Pochin. Now, if we're gonna have a rule, I want this. I think I'm gonna do this actually. If I ever, get to make the films I want to make, get to make little skits, TV shows, whatever, I'm just gonna have a no private school policy. I'm sorry. I've got good friends of mine who went to private school. I'm just gonna say to them, look, I'm sorry, but you're taking a spot that somebody else who didn't go to private school desperately needs more than you do. We live in an era of nepo babies, and it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's what you know about who you know. And it means that this, meritocracy, which was a term made up, a derisory term made up back in like, I don't know, the 30s or 40s. The word meritocracy was made up by someone who was very posh, neo-aristocracy, or even old school aristocracy maybe, went to private school and was like, could you imagine the common man, or even worse, woman, doing the same jobs that we as the very posh people do? Could you imagine? Just because they're very good at it. Just because they're really skilled and talented and they fucking know what they're doing. I mean, could you imagine the carnage that would ensue? Yeah. But yeah, what this reveals about, I was going to say, like, the danger, right? Racist rhetoric leads to racist policy, okay? And this reveals a lot about RefUK, because they don't care. They don't give a shit about, real problems. Pochin is whinging about brown people appearing in shampoo commercials. The economy is tanking. Bills are rising. The NHS is falling apart. They don't offer solutions. They just offer scapegoats. It's political snake oil for angry dickheads, angry racist dickheads at that. Division is the business model of these fuckers, because RefUK know they can't win on policy. They just can't. They win by fracturing society. Urban versus rural, white versus non-white, British-born versus migrant, working class versus working class. Because if people are ever united around class, fairness, equality, justice, reform will be fucking finished. They won't have a leg to stand on, But this whole thing of like, I saw some black people on TV and that made me angry. That was something I heard back in the 80s. I didn't think here in 2025 we'll be still hearing it, not just whispered amongst people in their in their own living rooms or maybe down the pub to their closest confidants and fellow racists. No, this is a politician, an elected member of the British Parliament, the mother of all parliaments, going on a talk show owned by Rupert Murdoch and saying out loud this horrifically racist shit. And the press aren't going to cover it. I'll tell you that now. We'll go over to the papers in a moment. I'm going to read a few more of your messages. But, representation is not oppression. It's this thing, isn't it? When you're used to privilege, equality feels like oppression, But equality feels like a punishment. You're having something taken away from you when you're not. You just, a rising tide raises all boats. That's the idea. In fact, the more rich people there are in any given society, the richer the rich get. Because more people have got more money to spend on shit that they don't actually need. Jeff Bezos wouldn't have made any money at all selling his Amazon shit if it had been a developing nation in sub-Saharan Africa where he started off. He wouldn't have made fuck all. Not least because there's no real logistics, postal service for him to the roads aren't fucking built for his vans to drive down. No, there's not the infrastructure that's required to an entire fleet of vehicles to deliver stuff to people's homes in those countries. But there is here. Some other bastard had to fucking pay for that. Some other bastard had to fucking work their entire lives to pay for all this shit, all this infrastructure that we just take for granted. And then we say, oh, no, we need to have rich and poor. We need to have like poor people so we can look down at them, look down on them. How grim is that? How grim is the only thing that in your life, in your world, that makes you feel happy or makes you feel good about yourself is the fact that you're not them, whoever it is. Jovian, thank you very much for the £50 mega chat. We've got a mega chat, everyone. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Jovian, thank you very much for your £50. I need to return your £50 now because you're saying I was privately educated, ... It's okay, no need to apologise. Like I said, many people I know, many good dear friends of mine went to private school. So, yeah, Jovian, I'm not having a go at you. I'm not having a go at you. I'm going to go at the system, you know? Don't hate the players, hate the game. But thank you so much for the mega chat. That is incredibly, incredibly kind of you. And I will continue on past midday into the afternoon, even though that should really change to afternoon brew, shouldn't it? Wouldn't that be great if I pressed the button and it just went afternoon brew, and it changed into a beer, brewing some beer, like a little distillation thing. You don't distillate beer, do you? What do you do with beer? Oh, what's it called? What's the thing that you said? Is it a still? Is it a still? Am I making this up? Am I going crazy? Is it a beer still? Or is that milk? I don't know. I can't remember. You distill whiskey, don't you? Fermentation. That's what you do with beer. You ferment it, yeah. Little fermentation flask with the beer dripping. Afternoon brew. I'm brewing some beer. Acro says, you can tell things are really bad when insignificant things are blown out of proportion. It's a distinction of how crap it all is. Like flags are a lot of people have to keep them warm at night. Yeah, I mean, the flag thing is insane. So Nottinghamshire Council, which is Nottinghamshire. Sorry, I'm not American. Nottinghamshire Council spent £75,000 on fucking flags. Not literally having sex with them. I mean, they spent them on flags. £75,000 in one of the poorest and most deprived areas of the entire country. And they've spent £75,000 on flags. They're putting the council tax up by 5% next year, which is the maximum they're allowed to. £75,000. It worked out to over £450 a flag. So people knew where they were. Jesus. You brew it, says Jovian. I love it. L says, he is vile. Time he recognised that trans didn't wreck his life. He did that to himself. He's apparently obsessed. No wonder his wife left. She must have been unbearable. Are you talking about Graham Linehan? Because, yeah, his kids don't. He's got 2 children and his ex-wife, who's the sister of Peter Severovich, who was a Scouser. He's from around our manor in Liverpool. And they wrote the first series of Motherhood together with Diane Morgan, who does Philomena Kung, and then he changed almost overnight into this absolutely vile monster who was kept up all night freaking out that trans people exist. And there's a bit more to it than that we can't really talk about, but just read between the lines. His wife and his 2 children don't speak to him anymore. Why do you think that might be? Where do you think he developed this hatred of trans people from? Yeah, I'm sure you can work it out. But what a disgusting thing to do. What a disgusting thing to do. I mean, look, I know relationships don't always work out. I'm not going to diss anyone who's got divorced or, had their partner leave them or left their partner for whatever reason. That's fine. But your kids, mate, they're your kids. Unless they've committed some horrific fucking crime, they're your kids. They're literally human beings that you created, that you brought into this world, and to abandon them because you don't like something about them is so fucking grim. It's so fucking disgusting. And that's why I know that guy, Graham Linehan, if there is a hell, he'll be burning in it for a very, very long time. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Fermentation was originally used to kill bugs, even though they didn't know the bugs existed. See the origins of beer and sauerkraut. Yes, it's very true, Miss Paula Thomas. Thanks for that. So in the medieval period, it was safer to drink beer than to drink water out the stream, because some stupid bastard up the stream had probably pissed in it or shat in it or something. So the settlement downstream, if they got water out of the stream, they'll fucking die. That's why they used wells, because that was groundwater. It wasn't necessarily polluted by sewage, although that did happen. Obviously, the most famous case being the pump, that was taken, the handle of which was taken by Dr. John Snow, who knew nothing. Actually, he knew something. He knew something was up. He thought that perhaps what's the waterborne virus? That you get in water that just fucking kills people left, right. Not a dysentery. Someone's going to tell me in the chat. He found that this particular waterborne virus was actually waterborne. At the time, they thought it was miasma, which was like bad air, which is this idea that if you're taking a bad smell, then you get ill from the smell. It wasn't the smell that took you out. It was the rotting carcass or the shit or the whatever the fuck it was that was smelling that bad. That smell is your brain saying, hey, stay away from that fucking thing. But yes, cholera. That's it. Thank you. Everyone shouting cholera at me. Yeah, John Snow, not the Channel 4 TV person, not the guy on the wall in Game of Thrones, but Jon Snow, the doctor, and he took the handle off the pump, in London, and the number of cholera deaths went off a cliff because it was just one particular pump that people were drinking from that was giving them cholera. There was like a little old lady who lived like 2 miles away, and she sent her daughter to get the water from this particular pump because she liked the color of that. She liked the taste of that particular water, and then she died. And when Jon Snow was plotting out on a map of London, like all the people who died, they died all around this one pump, this water pump. There was one that was like a complete outlier. It was like 2 miles away. He's like, why did she die of cholera? And then he interviewed the daughter, and she said, well, she liked the water from that pump, so he used to get the water from there. And he went, ha ha! But I don't think he lived long enough for his theory to be proved, which is a bit of a shame. Anyway, I want a Graham Hughes bobble hat as a merchandise on this channel. I'd like a Graham Hughes bobble hat. That'd be great. I'd wear it. So thank you very much, Plum. I think the drink of choice back then was mead, a very mild ale. Even children supped. The alcohol helped kill any bacteria. Yeah. People would have beer for breakfast. It's worth remembering. It's my favorite facts, right? I've got a lot of facts, but my favorite fact is that the ancient Egyptians invented beer before the wheel. I love that. That there's records of beer before there's any kind of records of wheels, because they lived on the water. They just needed a boat to go up and down the Nile, which is this really nice, slow flowing river through a desert. You know, very, very flat. Once you get past the what's now Lake Nasser, coming in there, it's like the fifth cataract or whatever it's called. But like, once you get past there, it's just just get on your felucca, get a bit of wind up your arse, and fucking down the up the Nile you go, nice and easy. They didn't need wheels. Wheels are shit in what's it called, in the sand anyway. Just get stuck. Just didn't need it. Just never thought that it was really important. But then eventually they got wheels, I guess, for chariot races and stuff. I don't know. But it always tickled me. They went, do you know what the priority is? Beer. Beer is the priority. Jon Snow also anaesthetized Queen Victoria twice. I didn't know that. Thank you very much, Miss Paula Thomas. Well, there you go. Knocked her out. A Graham Hughes bobblehead. Oh, no, that's what I want. Sorry, I think you said bobble hat. A Graham Hughes bobblehead. Okay, I'll see what we can do. Pub named after him was near where the pump was, says Kirsty. That's cool. What's the point of getting involved in the Westminster shit show? Won't help us, and you got a real chance of progress if we boot them into touch. Westminster is the problem, Pete, says Kirsty. And then Chris says, exactly my point. When Labour won in 97, things started to improve pretty quickly. Education got a massive boost, minimum wage introduced, NHS funded, etc. Why aren't they doing that? I don't know, Chris. I don't know. We talk about this all the time on this channel. I don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. Fucking dickheads. Although Lucy Powell won. The Bridget Phillipson, the vile transphobe, Bridget Phillipson got her ass handed to her, and Lucy Powell won the deputy leadership election, which I voted in, and I voted for her. I voted for Lucy, and I'm glad that she's won. She'll be representing the backbenchers should be representing the people in Labour who are just like, what the fuck? And she made a really good speech yesterday. That wasn't really covered by the news at all because Labour are like, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Their comms are so shit. Their comms. It should have been the front cover of all the newspapers today. It's Lucy Powell elected deputy leader, and she made this really good speech about how Labour needs to turn things around. Shouldn't it? But it didn't. That's why ancient Egypt lasted for over 3,000 years. They had their priorities right. Absolutely, Acro Dave. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, I'm back. Silent sneeze there for everyone. The Sahara hasn't always been a desert. That's true. Beer Street or Gin Lane. We're close to having a wrong turn down Gin Lane right now. Next step will be crack close. The Sahara, I mean, it hasn't always been a desert, but in human civilization, if you look at the areas around the world that are on the Tropic of Capricorn in the south and the Tropic of Cancer in the north, they're almost all deserty areas. And the reason being is that's where they get a load of sun in the summer, like too much sun, and then they get like fuck all in the winter. Well, they don't get fuck all, but it's kind of hot, but not continually hot like it is in the equatorial regions, which are almost all fucking rainforests, because it's always hot all year round. But once you get a little bit north of that area, once you get a bit of south over that area, you see all these deserts. You see them around the world. Look at the colours of the map. They're on the Tropic of and the Tropic of Cancer goes straight through the Sahara Desert. It's no coincidence. But I know that over farming in the Roman era caused a lot of the desertification of the Sahara region in areas that weren't desert before. But having said that, now it's been desert for a fucking long time. I remember at one time it was the bottom of the sea, wasn't it? Don't mention beer. I'm on a diet and I bloody love one. Okay, well, it's too early. It's not even 12 o'clock, Kirst. So, no, we were not having beers today. The chibs. Thumb up. And we've got Ernie Burns throwing in the 5 for 5. Thank you very much. Confetti for everyone. Woohoo! The super chat. It's all good. Ironically, Jon Snow was a teetotaler. There you go. Anyway, so, yeah, I was going to go over to the papers, wasn't I? Some kind of lesson plan here, Mr. Hughes. We've got the Sunday Times here with Rishi Sunak in the top left corner here saying, if you don't want growth, don't put up taxes. If you want growth, sorry, I'm reading this badly. If you want growth, don't put up taxes. Okay. Is this a guy who was part of the previous Tory administration who? Oh, the tank's back. Hello, tank. What are you doing here? I didn't order a tank. Who ordered a tank? I didn't even make a terrible joke. All right, see you then. Bye. Yeah, Rishi Sunak telling people about growth. He's really short. But also, like, fuck off, mate. You were the Prime Minister. How was growth then? How was our growth? Yeah. Our economy didn't grow at all between 2007 and 2022. Didn't grow a penny. It was $3 trillion in 2007. In 2022, 15 years later, it was $3 trillion. Funny that. So fuck off, I'm not listening to you. We've got Lily Allen on intimacy, divorce, and a very tough year. Lily Allen's new album, for those of you who haven't heard it yet. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. It is the breakup album of all breakup albums. You can keep your Adele 21s, you can keep your Tortured Poets, you can keep that Marvin Gaye album that he did, just whinging about his ex-wife. She really goes to town on her ex-husband who, cheated on her, and, well, she lays it all bare. Like, she just says, this is what happened, and he did this, and he did that, and here's some messages he sent me, and here's a voice note that I found on his phone, and it's like, oh my God. Bit public, but, this is the way that she gets through it, then, this is her method. That's kind of cool, I guess. Anyway, just a little word to the wise, my friends. Don't ever go out with a musician, right? Don't go out with a musician, because if it goes badly, they're likely to write horrible songs about you. And then every time you're out and you hear that song, you go, oh, this is about me. This is. Yeah. Valerie by the Zootons is about me, you know. No one believes me about this, but go and ask them. Go and ask the Zootons who Valerie is about. And that's about Graham Hughes. True story. They miss me ginger hair and the way I used to dress. Forest lair of Maddie suspect on the Sunday people hides in tents in woods as parents protest. So this is this sex offender called Christian Bruckner, who we think he's a prime suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. He was in jail for many years for other crimes that he committed, and he was released last month from jail, which is a bit grim. Okay, so we have Virginia Giuffre there on the front cover of The Observer there on the right, who trolled Virginia Giuffre, and this is possibly to do with the fact that Prince Andrew asked the people that we pay for to look after him to make sure that, doesn't get kidnapped or whatever, held for ransom. That'd be a terrible thing. He told his protection officers to dig up dirt on Virginia Giuffre and to troll her online. To troll her. It's so grim. It's so fucking grim. Okay, so I'll baptize an alien, says the Pope's astronomer. Okay, cool. And then we've got the luxury retirement home for army horses. Fucking putting out the big news stories here in the Daily Telegraph. And then we've got Starmer told to bin workers' rights. Labour think tank turns on party's flagship policy, saying it will cripple jobs market. We've got like 100,000 vacancies in the NHS. Like, fuck off. I'm sorry, the jobs are there. We've got loads of jobs. Jobs aren't the problem. And jobs are this thing that, like, the right always like to hide behind when someone's done something horrible. And they go, oh, but they created jobs. Some director is found to have committed some horrific acts against children. Like, yeah, but think of all the jobs they created when they made those movies. Okay. So we have to forgive everyone everything if they create jobs, because jobs are the most important thing ever. Is this Soviet Russia? Is it? Are they gonna make us dig a hole and then fill it in the next day just so we're working? Pointless jobs for pointless pay. And then we've got autumnal shades there with Zara Tyndall. Who's Zara Tyndall? I don't know. Princess Royal, apparently. She's privately educated. There you go. Lure of heist was an inside job, detectives believe, and 2 people have been arrested for the heist. This very, very high-profile heist, which is where they stole the French crown jewels. And it turned out only 1 in 3 fucking rooms that housed them had actual CCTV footage, like cameras set up. I mean, for God's sake, you can set up, you can buy a phone for 100 quid, right? And then you don't even have to put a SIM card in it, right? Just put it to the network, right? And just have it use it as a webcam. Just have it up in the 4K, a phone, 100 quid. And it's Wi-Fi. You don't have to put wires in. You just literally put it up higher than people can grab, right? And you put it on one of those things that you get for £10 at Halfords that holds your phone. Yeah, get one of them that holds your phone, and then just put it in the corner of the room, and then I don't know, you plug it in now and again to charge it. I don't know. I just fucking hell. Right. Anyway, so but freed Epping sex offender tried to hand himself in but was rejected. Okay. This is the oh, hang on. Helps if I show you the actual papers. Oh, why has it gone to Sunday service? Here we go. This is on the front cover of the Telegraph. Freed Epping sex offender tried to hand himself in, was rejected. He has been caught now. He has been caught. But yeah, he is a sex offender and an asylum seeker. So obviously that's red meat for the right wing press and the right wing gobshites. And it was exactly the thing that we didn't want to happen. There you go. Daily Mail. You can go on a fucking cruise. You go on a cruise, pollute the world, hang out with all the old people, and see a bit of the world curated by a cruise ship company. New class war bombshell here. Class war, says the Mail. Chancellor's annual charge would punish hard work and aspiration. Reeves is plotting mansion tax raid on homes. So the thing is, the people who read the Mail, right, are thick as pig shit, right? And they will read that and they'll think, oh, she's coming for me. Even though they live in a grotty, one up, one down, terraced house in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, they're going to think, this is a mansion. She's going to take money off me for my mansion. Even though they're renting. They're renting a tiny one up, one down, terraced house in the middle of nowhere, and Rachel is going to come and she's going to take away all their jukebox money. This is what's going to happen to the people who read the Mail, as far as they're concerned, because she's planning this tax raid on homes. No, mansion tax, mansion. The big word there is mansion. People who live in a fucking mansion. Yeah. Do you remember when they brought in the what was it, the bedroom tax, was it? Where they had an extra, if you had an extra room, you had to pay more tax. Yeah. What happened with that? Did we still have that? Do we still have a bedroom tax? What the fuck? That was the Tories who brought that in. And then revealed love rival Lily says wrecked her marriage. Love rival Lily says wrecked her marriage. Okay. And then we've got the Sunday Express now going into full sort of poppy rage mode here with the poppy on the side of the newspaper. The greatest SAS mission told at last, because we're going to obsess over the last war like a bunch of lunatics. Well, sorry, not the last war, Second World War. It's not the last war. We've had loads of wars since then, but not as important, I guess. 90% of councils to house migrants by end of the year. Fantastic, good. So not going to be put up in hotels for the pleasure and the financial swelling of Tory entombments of Tory donors. Cool. Fantastic. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Zara T is Princess Anne's daughter and Olympic medalist, married to former England rugby player Mike Tyndall. Okay, cool. Privately educated, of course. And Chris says, oh, Graham, I read the Daily Mail. I'm not as thick as pictures. Why do you read the Daily Mail? Then Chris, stop reading the Daily Mail. Jesus, my friend, please. I've got very high pitch now, haven't I? Please stop. Please stop reading the Mail. It's an evil newspaper that makes money out of being evil. Stephen Fry nearly died after cocaine binge. Comedian Ben Elton reveals hospital dash in cab during 90s. Stephen Fry was nearly killed by a cocaine binge. Ben told how he took his celebrity tracer's pal to hospital in a cab in 1982. I saved the most celebrated brain in showbiz. There you go. Stephen Fry, privately educated, of course, although Ben Elton isn't, and he was the good guy in this whole thing. Meanwhile, Stephen Fry was using cocaine, which comes from Colombia or Bolivia, and basically fucks up the people who live there a lot. Not a nice thing to do, Stephen. Maybe don't do that. Maybe if you're going to take some drugs, maybe just don't. Privates on parade, shocking increase in UK troops accused of flashing. And then we've got Charlotte Cribbs. Someone paid 180,000 for a private tutor. Well, meet my tiger mum friends. There was an advert going out for someone to tutor a child for £180,000 a year. Wow. And then mistakenly released migrant sex offenders return to prison reception up to 5 times. I'm pretty sure it should be in jail. No, mate, fuck off. And then Reeves faces pressure to increase income tax for highest earners. Changes to top rate under discussion, despite manifesto pledge, as Chancellor tries to pluck £40 billion budget black hole, which is exactly the same. This is where, it's quite satisfying when something just fits perfectly. I think there's a whole TikTok channel. It's just things fitting into other things, and you think, oh, it's not going to fit, and then it fits. And it's like, oh, that's quite satisfying to see those things fit together so beautifully. 40 billion is the exact amount that the Chancellor don't get no more because we left the EU. I could stuff that black hole full with a bloody 40 billion bung by us not leaving the EU. Funnily enough, it's nearly exactly the same amount of money that we had to pay to leave the EU. We had to pay the divorce bill, 39 billion, to also pay for things like Nigel Farage's pension. When he retires, we're paying for that. He nearly died trying to kill himself. He threw himself off a boat or something. What?
I read the Daily Mail so others don't have to, Graham. I need daily therapy though, says Chris. Yeah, please, man, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. It's fine. It's other people can read it. Chris, I'm not sure on food price controls as I can see that abused, but agree there needs to be huge changes, but can't see that coming from government until there's disaster crisis situations. Yeah, we can talk about Labour all day, can't we? Because they've not been great. They've not been particularly good, I've got to say. Right, let's have a quick look at what else is happening in the world. How a nation lost its appetite for Pizza Hut is a story on the front page of the BBC website at the moment, BBC News website. Oh, Liverpool lost yesterday, and I posted like, what the hell's going on with Liverpool? And somebody wrote, I don't know, but if you got the answer, send it to Arnie Slot, comma, L4, and I put, is that the postcode or is that the form? Because they lost 4 matches in a row. So it's L4, lost 4 matches. So it'll be Arnie Slot, L4, but it's the postcode and also the form. Okay, moving on. We've got Scott. No, actually, well, Chris is saying, Scott, I personally think we should look at taxing revenue and not profits. There's a way to incentivize the large companies to fiddle their books. Well, the thing is, if they found fiddling the books, we need to have things to, loads of money. We need to get loads of money. That's what we need to do. Epping sex offender back in custody after being released from prison in error. So he's back now. And then we've got, High Court halts eviction of refugee under Home Policy 28-day policy. So there you go. There's another asylum story for Farage and his lot to make lots of money out of. Because that's what Farage and all his mates, just there for the grift. They don't care about this country. They don't want to make us rich. They don't want to, make us better. They don't want to make us like, a country that people want to live in. They want to make us as miserable as they are, and they are very, very, very miserable people, unfortunately. But there you go. So what else is going on in the world? Trump has been dancing on a red carpet, doing his little fucking weirdo dance. Suspects arrested over jewel thief. The babyface tycoon accused of masterminding a multi-billion-dollar global fraud network. This is the tycoon from Cambodia. His name is Chen Zi, and he runs one of the largest transnational crime organizations in Asia, according to US authorities. So there you go. He's accused of doing this. I don't know if he's actually been taken down by the USA. I don't know. There's this. So first of all, the 100% tariff on China is apparently now off the table. But what's on the table is there's going to be an additional 10% tariff on Canada, and Trump is refusing now to even talk to Canada about trade talks because they made an advert which featured Ronald Reagan saying that tariffs were a bad thing, which is something that Ronald Reagan actually said. Wasn't AI, wasn't deep fake. He fucking said it because tariffs are a bad thing, and everyone with an IQ in double digits fucking knows that. What else is happening? There you go. And Miss USA crowns Audrey Eckard the winner, as scandal hit pageant heralds new era. So the President of the United States famously bragged about going into the changing rooms of the girls in these beauty pageants that he used to organise or used to pay to have organised for him on his behalf. And he'll go and ogle at these young teenage girls, some of whom were only 14 years old and getting changed and naked. And he would be like, hey, you get to see them naked. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America. Yeah, kind of gone down on them a little bit. What can I say? On America. Russia says it's successfully tested nuclear-powered missile as Ukraine hit with more deadly strikes. Yeah, they've tested the nuclear-powered missile, so they've tested it. So, it's going to be sorted anytime soon. This is like, This is like a fucking Ugandan space camp. What's going on in Russia at the moment? They haven't got the money. They just haven't got the money. They haven't got the money to maintain the equipment they've got. Never mind build new fucking nuclear powered missiles. And it sounds scary, doesn't it? Because it's nuclear powered. Fucking assholes. I really don't have much time for the old Ruskies at the moment. 41% of universal credit claimants are in some form of employment. Make employers pay fair and decent wages, and the welfare bill will be reduced by 41%. How hard is that to implement? Yeah, exactly, Chris. That's what you need to do. It's crazy, isn't it, in America that like so many people who get helped out by the government are working for like Walmart, but Walmart doesn't pay them enough, or they're working as a waitress or waiter, and they don't get paid enough because the minimum wage in America for a waiter in most places is like $2 an hour. It's $2 an hour. Fucking mind blowing. But yeah, it's Russia. Yeah, are you talking? Phil Morehouse did a good piece on this earlier. He did one about Russian coal. Like Russia could be in real fucking trouble, hopefully, because they can't export oil at the moment because all the refineries have been hit by the Ukrainians, and not all of them, but enough of them to cause enough problems that they can't export oil because they need that oil for themselves, what they've got. And now they're not being able to export coal, and the EU is finally getting its act together and making sure that stupid countries like Hungary under Orban and Slovakia stop buying this fucking toxic sludge off the toxic man in the toxic Kremlin. Cathal, thank you very much for the £3 super chat. We've got a new left president in Ireland. Yes, there's a new Irish Prime Minister. President. No, they don't have a prime minister, do they? They have it's Catherine Connolly. Any relation to Jennifer? I don't know. And she's been a proud left winger for a long time. She was running as an independent in this competition, but the other left wing groups were supporting her against Fine Gael, and she won. She won, set to be their new president. After Heather Humphreys conceded in the election. She did really well. I know that a lot of papers were spoiled, but I don't know. I don't know if that matters. Do you know what I mean? Some people wanted another candidate. I don't know. Like, whatever. I'm glad people turned out, but I do think it's a bit pointless. I argue with Phil about this because he's like, you should turn out and spoil the paper. And I'm like, what's the point of spoiling the paper? Well, people will notice. Well, how are people going to notice? Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, 13% of the papers were spoiled, and what? They still won. It's a bit like, when you see in like some certain countries when the opposition boycotts an election because they say it's corrupt. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm really torn on this. What do you do? You know you're going to lose anyway, so why don't you just try and make it so that you lose only by a little bit rather than lose by 100% because you don't actually stand? I don't know. At least then you can say we're building on this. Okay, we only lost by 13% this time. Next time we'll lose by 6%. Next time we'll actually win. I don't know. I don't understand the need for governments, whether they be left, centre, or right, to protect the rights of large corporations over the rights of the ordinary individual. Well, there's no need for it, Chris. They do it. They do it simply because those big companies give money to MPs, give money to politicians. It happens all over the world. So Catherine Connolly, Ireland's new president, she won 63% of the first preference votes. Once sport votes were excluded, compared with 29% for Fine Gael's Heather Humphreys. That is mad. That is fucking absolute trouncing. That is an absolute trouncing there. And she said that she'll be an inclusive president for you all and regard it as an absolute honour. That's nice. But yeah, she seems to be a decent one. She's served as a lawmaker since 2016, been outspoken in criticising Israel over the war in Gaza. She's a former barrister as well, so she knows about the law and what she's doing. She's not... So this is another thing about the RefUK fuckers. They're all inexperienced. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's like Elon Musk's Doge team who went in. It was all like little kids who called themselves Big Dick 9000 online. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Anyway, Anyway, so back to some of the other news things that's happening. So there's there's supposed to be a tobacco ban coming in. They want to have a UK smoking ban. It will scrap the central provision of the Tobacco and Vapes Bill, which was originally proposed under Rishi Sunak's government, and if the bill is passed in its original form, the UK would become the second country after New Zealand to implement a so-called generational smoking ban, making it illegal to sell tobacco to anyone born after 2008. Strathcairn's Lord Strathcairn wants to raise the legal purchase age from 18 to 21, and the change proposed by the peer at the Regent's speech in the Lords described cigars as harmless, and it mirrors the British American Tobacco's lobbying position. And this would result in meaning that millions more people could be legally sold tobacco products over the coming decades. And, you know, this is a guy in the House of Lords who has discussed the legislation with a family member who's very high up at British American Tobacco, which is one of the most biggest and most evil corporations in the world, tobacco barons. They sell cancer. They sell cancer to people. Here you go. Have some cancer. If you use it correctly, you will get cancer from doing this thing. You might die of something else, but it's really grim. It's really grim. The amount of vested interest. You're asking, like, why do they go after? Why is this peer trying to derail the smoking ban bill in this country? Because why would he do that? Oh, he's got a relative in British American Tobacco. Okay. I hate reform, says Plum. I fucking hate reform as well. I wish they'd all fuck off. But yeah, they're all inexperienced. And we see that in these councils across the country where they're just behaving like fucking dickheads. Because that's what they are. That's what they are. That's what they always were. There's a weird environmental story here about Russia arresting a Ukrainian biologist for backing curbs on Antarctic krill fishing. You know, Russia is a death cult. They just want to destroy the planet. They just want to watch the world freeze. And meanwhile, Trump just wants to watch the world burn. So, you know, it is a song of ice and fire. It really fucking is. That's what we're living in right now. We're trapped between these two superpowers, one of which wants to burn the planet, and the other one with his dragons, and the other one wants to freeze the planet with his ice zombies. Nice. So there you go. That's the world in which we're living at the moment. And there are fears. Just to go back to Gaza for a moment. Let's not forget about what's happening in fucking Gaza. There are fears that the temporary ceasefire line could become a new permanent border, which would mean that the area that is the Gaza Strip at the moment would lose half of its territory to Israel. So there, Baron Strathnaran is hereditary. Not great. Not great. Anyway, have we got any good news? Do populists always crash the economy? Argentina is counting the cost of return to Javier Milei. Politicians from Donald Trump to Giorgia Meloni and Nigel Farage are closely watching what happens next. Yes, they always do. They always do. And Hitler and Mussolini and Franco and Salazar and the slork that used to run Burma. That was the name of the political party. Or the military junta. It was called Slork. We're the good guys. Okay. We have to book bigger rooms, says Zach Polanski. Green membership surge causes novel problems. There's a piece on the Guardian website. Trump's sanctions will have swift impact. But will the world stop buying Russian oil and gas? Well, we fucking hope so. That's very much the plan. The Orkney Islands are planning to put a £5 entry fee For tourism, fine. We have a tourist tax in Liverpool now. There's one in Manchester. Yeah, fine. Oh, okay. Why do we yawn? There's another story there. And then when his grandma heard us having sex, she'd asked me if we'd been having a fun dance upstairs. Okay, that no one needs that. Okay, right. So I do have some really good news, by the way. Some good news. That's just been released. A scientific endeavor. What's it called? Scientific, testing, experimentation. Like what they do in R&D in pharmaceutical companies. What's it called? Like research. Let's just call it research, right? So pharmaceutical research, right? Or medical research. Sounds less intimidating. Medical research has found that the COVID vaccination, the mRNA COVID vaccination, actually protects against cancer. They found that in the people that they were only using it as just like as a base. They were using it as base. They were using it as something that wouldn't really affect the people who were being tested, but it was for people with cancer. And the people who got the vaccination survived twice as long on average than the people who didn't. These people with serious forms of cancer. I think it was like if they got the jab within 100 days of being diagnosed with cancer, they would live quite a lot longer. I mean, we're talking about months or a few years here. We're not talking about like a cure, but really interesting. And other vaccines like the flu vaccine and I think what was the other one? There was another vaccine, and basically it reduced heart attacks. It reduced like people getting Alzheimer's. So vaccinate your kids or vaccinate yourself. I got vaccinated against fucking everything before I went traveling around the world. Went to every single country in the world over 4 years. Didn't get ill. Didn't get fucking ill. Meanwhile, if I go to the local cemetery here, I can see all these names of children who fucking died in the 1950s because, we couldn't stop them dying of all these childhood diseases like measles. Good news. Multiple rights organisations have requested that the EHRC's accreditation be downgraded. Yeah, that is very good news, Kirsty. And we've got some more good news as well, because a lot of companies, your businesses are going to the government. Fuck off with this fucking guidance that you're trying to come out with about trans people, because it doesn't just affect the trans people working for these companies. If they've got customer-facing role, they have to now spend money on making a special toilet for trans people to use. Like, what? What? So so let me get this right. You're a historic cafe in Durham, right? And you have a tiny men's toilet and a tiny women's toilet, because you're literally in a medieval building. You're going to spend what, 100,000, 200,000 building, the permits that you'll need on these buildings, because they're already listed, so it's hard to change anything on them. You're going to have to build an outhouse, are you? You're going to build an outhouse. You're going to spend that money. When hospitality is under siege at the moment, because since COVID we're not going out as much, and restaurants are failing, and cinemas are on their arse, and nightclubs are closing, and venues, live music venues are closing, and now the government's saying, hey, you're going to have to spend 100 grand on building an extra fucking toilet block because of racism. Sorry, not racism, transphobia, which is completely different from racism, because when it was a racist state, we used to have like, well, not here, but in other countries that were racist, we'd have a separate toilet block for people who were different colour. This is completely different. Both would have to be gender neutral. Yeah. And what? Like, when did this start? Probably about 10 years ago. But like the idea that a women's toilet in a public place is a place of refuge. What? A women's only space is what? And now it's I felt bad when I was out with my, I mean, she's a bit older now, so it's not a problem. But when Kat's youngest was only 3, 4, 5 years old, and I was out with her, and she needed to use the loo, right? And it was just me and her. What do we do? I don't want to take her into the men's. I don't want to take her into the men's fucking toilet. You know, like, no, I'm not doing that. And she wouldn't want me, you know, saying go in the toilet and then standing outside the toilet, especially at that age, you know. And she's quite she suffers from a little bit of anxiety at the best of times. And you know, because of J.K. Rowling, I didn't feel like I could go into the toilet with her. You know, just not in the cubicle, but just, you know, standing outside the cubicle while my stepdaughter went for a piss because of J.K. fucking Rowling. So what am I supposed to do? She either pisses herself or what? We find the gender neutral toilet. But the gender neutral toilet, I'll be in the toilet with her if it's a disabled loo. And I don't want to be in the toilet with her. I'm not a dad. I'm a stepdad. Do you know what I mean? It's not appropriate for me to be in where the toilet is. J.K. Rowling doesn't give a fuck about things like that. She doesn't give a fuck about a little girl crying her eyes out because she really needs a wee. It's not just trans people that these monsters are going after. It's fucking everybody. It's everyone. And cisgender women are going to be just as affected as well, maybe not just as affected. But, you know, there's so many women out there who are now getting all fucking getting all arsey about anyone who doesn't look traditionally, you know, feminine looking, Western white, feminine looking, using the toilet, going for a piss. It's become a thing now. It's become a thing that people fucking obsess about. Get really angry. How dare they use the toilet? Oh, it's my toilet. My granddad fought in the fucking Somme to have a piss. Fucking nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense. But yeah, I don't have the words. I'm quite garrulous, but I don't have the words to just describe the disgust I have in people like J.K. Rowling and Graham Linehan and these vile transphobes. And what the hate that they have unleashed in the world, and the discomfort, and the cruelty, and the mental health problems that they have caused. They have caused that. Alvone says, I'm from Wales. Who did I vote for in the future to keep reform out? I don't care who it is, as long as it's not reform. Yeah, well, we'll be doing the old tactical voting thing again, I'm pretty sure, in the next election. So, yeah, it could be Plaid Cymru, it could be the Lib Dems, could be the Greens, could be Labour. I don't know. Any of them. Take your pick. That is why I call them bigots, not specifically racist, homophobic, or whatever. It's all the same thing. Yeah. Bigots. Just really not nice people. Elle says, where's the father? Take his 6-year-old daughter. Men's with men. Stood at the urinal, getting shouted at, taken to the women's. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yeah. Elle, what do you do? What the fuck do you do? And like I said, I can't go to a unisex, like a disabled toilet in a nearby cafe because the toilet's in there. I suppose I can turn around, but you know, it's not. They don't think about this. They don't think about the practicalities of everyday life because a cunt like fucking what's it called, Butter Chops, XY Rolling. She doesn't piss in a toilet. She doesn't piss in a human toilet. She's got some kind of fucking elaborate contraption on a fucking private yacht that she pisses into. You know. Sucks the piss out of her. I don't fucking know. Robot to wipe a fucking snatch. I don't know. I just think it is absolutely disgusting what they have done to this country and to the mentality of people in this country. Because like I say, like so many of us have said, Rachel said this on the show so many times, 10 years ago, no one gave a fuck. No one cared. People just got on with their lives. They're freaking out every 5 seconds. Oh my God, what if a trans person came in? And did what? Went for a piss. JKKK Rolling says Kirsty Mattea. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I listened to a transphobic caller from the UK on the line last night. Embarrassing. I can't stand the toilet debate. I'm sick of hearing it. It was never a problem, says Alvone. Yeah, it was never a problem until they decided to make it a problem. They decided to make it an issue. And here's the thing, like, if someone means you harm in this life, 99 times out of 100, someone you know. If someone's going to abuse you in this life, unfortunately, I'm sorry that happens, and I'm sorry that anyone has had that happen to them. But 99 times out of 100, it's someone that you know, family friend, member of the family, who will abuse you. Your partner, boyfriend. And the fact that now they've turned what they used to say about homosexuality, which is like, oh well, if they'll have sex with a man, they're a sexual deviant and they'll do terrible things to children and to animals and to this and that and that was just a homophobic dog whistle in the 1980s that a lot of us heard. And now they're just saying the same thing about trans people. Oh, they're trans, they must be a criminal. And you had J.K. Rowling a couple of years ago write on Twitter, of her own free will, we need to stop assuming innocence of certain groups in society. Was she talking about black people? That would make her a massive racist, wouldn't it? She was talking about trans people. And she got a let. If she had been talking about black people, would everyone just gone, you know, it's just the way she is, you know? And that footage of Keira Knightley going, whoa! Privately educated, of course. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. There's one England women's bowling prospect who is 6 foot 4 inches tall. JKR is she's a woman. Is she Linehan? Yeah, I mean that is one of the things, isn't it? That this war on trans people it spills over. It spills over to everyone in society. And meanwhile, you know, Murdoch and his mates are making away like bandits with all the fucking ill-gotten riches. These guys get into trouble for stealing the crown jewels from France, you know, but they haven't stolen anything near how much Trump has stolen or Murdoch or anyone else. And the fact that, and you need to repeat this statistic to people when they talk about trans issues, and they say anything that is a repetition of something that they've read in the newspapers or some fucking commentator, some transphobic commentator. 80% of the money paid towards transphobic organizations and transphobic commentators in the United States, 80% of that money comes from fossil fuel companies. Don't tell me this shit ain't intersectional, because it absolutely fucking is. Divide and rule, my friend. Divide and fucking destroy, actually. Not even rule, just divide and destroy. Dear says it's a moral panic they made up. Yeah. It's like fucking Dungeons and Dragons being the fucking devil, the devil worshipping. Do you remember that in the 1980s? They said Dungeons and Dragons was worshipping the devil and teaching kids how to cast spells and shit. I was like, really? What? Yeah. Well, to be fair, when I was a kid, I did read the Mega Mog books, and I did end up, you know, becoming a witch and flying around on a broomstick at night and eating the flesh of unbaptized children. But you know, apart from that, I grew up pretty normal. I like to think. I like to think. Anyway, so I'm going to head off now. Thanks so much. I gave a little bit of a bumper show there this morning. Did an extra half hour almost. Listen, it's going to get a bit blustery tomorrow, apparently. So I think we're not looking in for the best of weather over the next few days. So stay safe, stay warm, wrap up warm, and yeah, look out for yourselves and each other. You know, look out for each other. And I just want to give a special mention to Darian DeStar, who is an absolute star, hence his name, Darian DeStar, who very, very kindly bought one of oh God, I've taken it off my table. Oh, I showed it to Kat the other day. Damn it. Mike Dick's new book, this Trumpton Annual for 2025. And Darian stepped in to buy that for Sarah. Thank you so much for doing that, Darian. That's so kind of you. And yeah, Sarah, hopefully when you receive your package from Michael, you will be I hope you're overjoyed. But it just shows that the people in the chat here, you lot watching this, you're a good lot. You really are. You make me proud. And we tend not to argue too much. I feel like I know there's sometimes a little bit of disagreement in the chat, but generally speaking, it's all usually quite civil and kind and thoughtful. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the kind, thoughtful commentary going on while we're talking about this stuff. And yeah, and if I'm wrong, you know, you're always there to tell me. Or if I can't think of a word, I love that. I absolutely, because I don't have someone in my ear. Like if I'm an engineer, right, who's working behind the desk or something, and I was like, what's the word? They could whisper the word in my ear, you know, if I had an earpiece, but I don't. I've got you. So it takes 20 seconds to get the word out, but eventually I will. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with another morning brew. I might do a show this evening, depending on how I feel, but I'm going to do some, since it's a bit shit out today, I'm going to do a bit of decoration. I think I'm going to sort some things out for the winter. Try and make things a bit more cozier. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Like I said, I'll be back in the morning. Thanks for the super chats. It was really kind of you, especially Jovian. And I forgive you for going to private school. Absolutely. And thank you so much for the mega chat. Really kind of you. If the rest of you could do us a favor and just hit the like button on the way out. That's all I ask. Give us a quick like on the way out. Don't forget. And until I see you again, just let me say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.